I'm going to show you what you look for and how to find them, how to eradicate them. See what those fresh droppings look like? They're disgusting. He moved over to this plant and gnawed away on this one. I can see him right now. Can you guys see the hornworm? There he is. Look at that beast. Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Wishwell Farms. Happy Monday. I gotta do it all again. Even though I don't want to, I gotta make hay while the sun shines. Got the trailer all packed up, ready to send out to our satellite location. I'll give you a closer look at it here in just a second. We only picked 135 dozen ears of corn today, just enough to get us through today with some fresh picked corn. Before I go any further, I gotta mention my audio. If my audio sounds off, different, bad, I apologize. My media mod and my microphone broke yesterday. I don't know if I dropped it or what happened, but if you watched my video, I think one or two videos prior to this one, you may have noticed I did some voiceover because my audio did not work and I lost a lot of good footage of things I wanted to show you guys and tell you. So I just voiced it over and left the video on there. Hopefully the wind's not too strong out here. Without a puffy mic on here or the media mod, you're probably gonna sound like garbage. The guys are picking zucchini and cucumbers, and it's really muddy out today, so they're just making piles out there on the plastic, and then we're gonna drive the flatbed wagon down and pick up all those piles, bring the cucumbers back up here in the barn and get them washed. I got 3 girls picking greenhouse tomatoes today, and it's a pretty good pick. Let's go take a look at those first. We're definitely losing size on our greenhouse tomatoes and a little bit of the quality. I'm sure they look pretty nice to you on camera, but you know, there's a lot of small stuff. You know, there's a nice big one. I wish they all looked like that. But the quality's just not quite there. They aren't holding up as well. And there's still some pretty nice ones, but yeah, if you look real close, you know, they just look rough. That one's got a little ding in it. Scuffed up and rough, some bug pressure in there. And as you can see over here, we are loaded down with empty boxes from Saturday's sales. We always run out of room to store them all. I have to palletize them and roll them back into the tomato cooler, you know, wrap them up and roll them in there and get them out of the way. But I think they're only about halfway done with tomatoes, so we're gonna have a good pick today. I'm sure we're gonna get close to 100 cases, if not more. All right, now to the Marysville satellite trailer. That's our starter corn, those 6 tubs. And she has 9 more underneath to get us through the day. I know it's dark in there, the lighting's not working so well. So yeah, about 60 dozen probably. We got 5 boxes of peaches total. About 30 watermelons and 60 cantaloupe. Southern onions and potatoes, and then all of our stuff right here. Green beans, peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, and eggplant, and homegrown tomatoes. You know, when I said I don't want to do it all again, but I have to, because I gotta make hay while the sun shines. This is the time of year that things start to drag on a little bit for me. Mondays are always pretty stressful for me. You know, you're starting a new week. We're out of a lot of stuff. And the harvest is gonna be huge because we don't pick anything on Saturdays and Sundays, so it has an extra day to ripen. It rained twice since we last harvested, so the ground's really muddy. So, you know, Mondays are just stressful for me. And I'm always glad when the employees are done and head home and I can kind of take a deep breath and gather my thoughts and get ready for the long week ahead of harvesting, cultivating, spraying, planting, packing trucks and trailers, counting money, making deposits. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm just scratching the surface of the things that I have to do throughout the week. But yeah, things start to drag this time of year, and I'm always looking forward to getting through July and through August, because those are our big money-making months. And then, you know, obviously through Labor Day, and then things really start to curtail and slow down. And yeah, I miss generating the revenue that I need to pay bills, pay off operating loans, slug away money for winter and retirement and all that good stuff. But it's nice to get a break when things start to slow down, and hopefully we'll have great weather and great harvest here for the next 6-8 weeks of good harvest and good sales before things really start to slow down, and then I'll get a little bit of a break. Off to our satellite location. We run that location from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Saturday hours are obviously different. We start at 8:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. So one of the things we're going to do after everybody's done picking today is come through here and clip up these tomato plants that are falling over because they're getting heavy on top with some larger tomatoes. You can see that a lot of them are leaning and falling over, and they're going to end up like kinking right here. So we want to get them clipped up and, you know, remove some of these new suckers that are starting to grow. Wow, that was a big one. We don't want any new tops to be growing on these since we've topped them, which is something I discussed in the prior video. Yeah, we got some big suckers in here getting out of control and lots of heavy tops that need clipped up. So here's the patch with the bird scare balloons out there that we picked Friday. We only picked half of it, but the other half is so destroyed by birds and coon, I don't even know if we're gonna mess with it anymore. We already moved into the new patch right here. This block right here was beautiful and less than 5 to 10% bird and coon damage. That tends to be pretty typical of what happens every year. We start out with our early patches just getting destroyed by bird and coon, especially if I'm not out there actively controlling them somehow. And then when we get into our full season varieties here, after picking for a couple weeks, they don't really bother it too much anymore. Yeah, you'll still see some hot spots here and there, but for the most part, it's good picking all the way through. Got about 5 more acres in this field. We'll be picking this for the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, I think. And then we'll be moving to some new fields way on the other side of that tree line. And that's where we have another probably dozen acres of sweet corn. I have decided though, if I'm gonna continue using these scare balloons, I'm gonna go buy some like 15-foot pieces of rebar, 1/2-inch rebar, so I can stick them into the ground easily, and I'll bend the top about 3 foot. So they're only gonna be about 12 feet high. Well, actually, after I push them into the ground, they'll be about 11 feet off the ground, because I'm gonna put about a 3-foot bend at the top and then hang those balloons from a longer string so they can kind of blow around and the birds see them better. I think if they're up above the corn and able to blow and spin up in the air, that may deter them a little bit more. I did see some pretty big flocks of birds flying around when I was checking the new patch today. So I think I'm gonna bring my 12 gauge out here and shoot a couple flocks of birds. Maybe I can kill a couple dozen, maybe that'll scare the other flocks off. It just dawned on me that I never showed you guys us pulling out our grape tomatoes. We finished picking them last week for the entire year. So you can see here, these 4 rows are completely gone, drug them out, ready to burn. We still do have 1 partial row here that we're gonna pick. You can see there's a lot of nice grape tomatoes in there. Oh, those are beautiful. So I'll probably have the kids pick those tomorrow. That'll be nice to get a couple more flats. But the reason I didn't kill this row is because the back half has determinate field tomatoes that I trialed in these coconut core bags. And you can see we got a lot of blossom end rot here on some of these early ones that ripened up. That always happens, it seems like, but the later ones look beautiful. You can see these massive clusters of big green tomatoes in here, and I don't think they picked in here yet, but they should get a decent amount of tomatoes out of here. Some of them are kind of small, but it looks like there's a lot of nice ones coming. Oh baby, there's a beauty. So my hope for planting these determinate field tomatoes in here was to give us a little boost of size on our tomatoes, since all of our hydroponics are kind of small and the quality's not quite there like I like. Quality on field tomatoes always looks beautiful and the size is always there. So there's a row and a half here of those that we can pick while we're waiting for our field tomatoes to ripen. I did see a few out there starting to turn colors. Not enough to go out and pick yet, but maybe next week or the week after we will start picking field tomatoes. Again, I apologize for the audio if it's off a little bit. I won't know until I go in and edit this video and listen to it myself. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me as well as normal, but I do have a new media mod and microphone adapter coming. Hopefully it'll come today or tomorrow and we can be back into some good audio in the next video. Not sure if you can see how muddy it is out here, but it is a soupy mess. I hate rutting up our fields with our tractor, causing compaction, but there's no way around it. As soon as we finish loading up zucchini and cucumbers, I'm gonna have the guys pull some weeds in this back half of our cantaloupe patch. They are just about ready to harvest. We're starting to get some good size on them, and they're netted up real well. So a couple more days of heat, and I bet we'll see some ripe ones out here. There's a nice big one. But after it rains, it's a good time to come and pull weeds, because they come out really easy. Sometimes you gotta be careful when you're pulling them right beside the melon vine. In that case, I usually just break these weeds off so they can't grow anymore. So it's just a stub. Because if I pulled that up and uprooted this cantaloupe, it would kill the cantaloupe and it wouldn't continue ripening these melons that are growing off of it. But you can see there's some black nightshade, a giant ragweed, a pigweed, lots of pigweed out here, and those things are hard to pull. A little bit of grass, but I'm not too worried about the grass. Cantaloupe patch number 2 looks pretty clean. I see a few ragweed out there. And cantaloupe planting number 3, they have not vined off the plastic yet, fortunately. I'm gonna run my little sprayer up and down these aisleways to control those weeds. They are thick down there. That's always a really bad spot for a giant ragweed. Definitely gotta get those under control before they get any worse. And our second zucchini planting is really taking off, and I see flowers. That means it won't be long before we move into this patch to start picking zucchini. Cucumbers are looking great too. Watermelons are looking great. I actually see a big one over there. We'll go see how big it is. This is what the pollinators look like. They don't even get as big as softballs, and they're just little melons full of seeds. There's a little seedless. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot out here. They're just pretty small. Here's one that's getting some size to it. About 2/3 of the way there. Another nice size one. We got the zucchini done. They're just about done with the cucumbers. And the way we harvested these today, instead of pushing wheelbarrows up and down the aisleways, is the fellas would pick a handful and make piles on the outside row. So this outside row of cucumbers is gonna have a pile like every 15 or 20 feet. Same with the zucchini on this side. So now we're gonna drive our tractor down the row and pick up these piles. And there's one right there. They definitely got some good size to them today. I'm not picking on Saturday and Sunday. There's a nice pile. It's gonna be easy to drive right by these piles because they kind of camouflage in here with the plants. We'll get them all loaded up in the tubs. Zucchini does not go through the vegetable washer. It scuffs them up too much. Too risky of scratching them, scuffing them, dinging them up. But the cucumbers are a lot tougher, and they are always really dirty because they vine off the plastic and are down in the mud and dirt. So we definitely will be running the cucumbers through the vegetable washer today. We got 14 tubs of zucchini. Now we're picking up the cucumbers. And since they're a lot tougher, we can kind of gently toss them into the tubs. Muddy mess out here. When it's like this, you have to use the brakes to steer. It helps you turn right, it helps you turn left. Cucumber pick was a little light today. It looks like about 5 tubs. Let's get them up to the barn and get them washed. I'm currently in our long greenhouse. We call it greenhouse number 2, our second hydroponic tomato planting. These have all been topped. You know, we're terminating the new growth. Suckers are getting out of control in here, but we're not worried about the suckers right now. Today, we're just clipping up the plants that are leaning. Since they're starting to get heavy with fruit, we're doing one final clipping up to the string to hold them in place to finish off these plants over the next 3 weeks, and then they will be done. So another thing that is happening in here is they are infested with hornworms. I'm going to show you one here in a second and how we deal with it. So because I leave the sides rolled up in this greenhouse during mid-June on, because of the extreme heat, at night, whatever lays the eggs that produces hornworms, I don't know if they're moths or butterflies, they fly in here and they lay eggs. And by late June or early July, you start seeing hornworms. And about 2 days ago was the first time that I saw any hornworm damage. I'm going to show you what you look for and how to find them, how to eradicate them. So as I walk along the greenhouse aisle, I see these little black droppings. Can you see those through the camera? Here's a nice big pile right here. They appear overnight. It's unbelievable how fast they appear. So this is a surefire sign that you have a hornworm somewhere up in this tomato plant eating the tops of your plants. Here's what they do. If you let them go unchecked, they will destroy your young tomatoes and the top of your plant. See how this plant has been eaten completely? There are no leaves left on it. They've all been eaten. See what those fresh droppings look like? They're disgusting. And they usually fall on the floor, and that's a surefire sign that you have hornworms. He moved over to this plant and gnawed away on this one. I can see him right now. Can you guys see the hornworm? I want to point him out to you here in a second. I'll let you look for a little bit. There's a giant hornworm in the top of that plant. Top of this plant right here. You ready? There he is. Look at that beast. So what we do, well, for fun, I have the guys pull them off if they see them. So I'm gonna grab him and smack him on the ground. And he explodes and he's dead. Now, I'm not gonna walk up and down all these aisles looking for hornworms all day. I would miss half of them, if not 3/4 of them, and there's too many. It would take too long. So I have a secret weapon to control these hornworms. I control them organically with BT, Bacillus thuringius. Thuringius? I always forget how to say that. This is Dipel DF, biological insecticide, dry flowable, for organic production. And it's just a little brown powder. I'll show you what it looks like here. There you go. It's just a little brown powder, and it does not take much to kill the hornworms. So I'm gonna have to look back on my records to see how I mixed this, but I think I put like maybe a teaspoon or even less per gallon. And I'll just walk through here and spot spray where I know there's hornworms because of the droppings. Here's another hot spot. See the droppings down there? So somewhere there's a hornworm up here. He's been gnawing on that tomato. It has droppings all over it. Gnawed that tomato. So as you can see, they can create a lot of damage really quick. This all happened in the last 3 days. I didn't really come in here on Friday because I was so busy packing trucks for farmers markets. It all happened during Saturday and Sunday. Obviously, they've been in here longer than that because they don't grow to full size overnight, but they don't really cause any damage until they're full size. But once they are, it happens fast. Let's see if we can find this hornworm. Where is he at? I like the tops where it's young and tender. Maybe someone already pulled this one off, I don't know. But I don't see him anywhere. He could be up here hiding. It's just so hard to see him because they're camouflaged in with the tomato plants. Look, this tomato plant is eaten clean. It's not really a big deal to me right now because we've already topped these plants and I'm not concerned about having new growth. So actually they're doing me a little bit of a favor up here on top. But we don't want them eating our tomatoes, obviously, so we need to get rid of them. All right, we're in here clipping these plants. We're just pulling up these heavy tops and putting one final clip on. Just like that, and that one's ready to go. And that's exactly what we're looking for right there. That leaning plant, pulled up to the string, pop a clip on it. There you go. The hornworms are not near as bad in here, only a handful. And in greenhouse number 1, the tall house, I haven't seen any hornworms because those sides go up and down by themselves. It's fully automated by computer system to control the temperature and humidity. So at night, those sides are always up and the moths or butterflies cannot fly in to lay their eggs. So if I wanted to completely control these hornworms, I could roll the sides down on these greenhouses each night, like I do during May and June, early June, to keep those moths and butterflies out. But after doing it for months and months and months, when it gets hot out, I just leave them up at night and wait till I see the hornworms and then just walk through and spray them and take care of them pretty quickly. I was just telling the guys that a couple years ago, I had some workers that were daring each other, making bets on who would fry a hornworm up and eat it. Like batter it up and fry it in butter. Oh, nasty. Looks like we're gonna wash a cat today. Yeah. We're gonna plug in the round table, see what happens. Wrapping up our tomato packing right now. We're packing 3 different sizes: small, medium, large. And what do you think these are? Looks like mediums and some smalls. Getting a pretty good stack there. We'll be close to 100 boxes today.
They have to wear Jordan and
We had a decent zucchini pick today. 4, 8, 12, 15 tubs, but only 5 tubs of cucumbers. They're struggling just a little bit, but that's still enough, I think. Thought I would take a little drive out here and see if there's any birds. This is the second time I've done this today. I drove my Polaris Ranger around the patch about 2 hours ago and didn't see one blackbird or starling. So there's the patch that we just finished up. Actually, the patch with the balloons on it still has 12 of the 24 rows in that block that need picked, but when I walk through there and look at it, 90% of it looks like it's been destroyed by coon and birds, but they haven't touched the next one. I don't understand it. The guy said there was only 5 to 10% damage in there today, and it was hardly even noticeable. And this corn's even better eating than this. I mean, I figured the better the corn gets, you know, the later full season varieties, the worse the coon and the birds would be, but that's not the case. Maybe after a good rain, they don't crave the moisture as much in the kernels of corn, and that's why they're not here pecking at the corn. Just a thought, I don't know. It's gonna be some good picking in here tomorrow. We shouldn't have any problem getting about 1,500 to 2,000 dozen out of this front half of this field this week. And then next week we'll move back in the back half, back there on the hill, before finishing up this field and moving on to a new one. We just finished up unloading our mobile produce trailer and just got to put these tomatoes away. About a half a box of tomatoes is all she had left on tomatoes, and she was pretty cleaned out. I think she had 2 tubs of corn, maybe just a small handful of melons. Yeah, not very many. All the other vegetables were pretty much gone as well. We're down to scraps, so it was a really good day. We had a really good day, especially for being a Monday on the trailer. I was telling Emma, the lady who ran the trailer, that in years past, these next 2 to 3 weeks are going to be the busiest and the best 2 to 3 weeks of the entire summer for this trailer. It's going to continue to ramp up, and you know, she felt that today. She said it was steady all afternoon, and that's what I like to hear. It was hot out, and that doesn't seem to deter people. Even rain doesn't deter people at our satellite mobile produce trailer location. It always does really well this time of year. So we definitely need to keep sending this trailer out every day as long as we possibly can. But once we get to mid-August, we'll go back to every other day, because I'll lose half of my employees back to high school and college. That's just the nature of the produce business when you hire seasonal high school and college help. Alrighty folks, I think this is where we're gonna wrap up today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the content, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I hope to see you all again real soon down on the farm.